Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today I'm doing a fun video. It is basically, if you guys haven't heard, there's big news in the cyber world. Lockbit. If you haven't heard of Lockbit, we're going to cover what they are, who they are, what they've done, and then also what's the big news, right? So if you haven't heard of them, make sure you drop a like, hit the sub, because we are going to try and hit that algorithm here. But at the same time, I find this very interesting because of how the news is covering it, and what I mean, I'll explain, because I think there's a little bit of misconception here. So, firstly, what is Lockbit? If you haven't heard of them, they're a threat actor, right? So you can see here, this is actually CISA. They are Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, and they actually reported on this in 2022 is when they started tracking, and 2023 is when this actually came out. But what they're talking about here is Lockbit is the most deployed ransomware variant across the world. So what is Lockbit? Well, Lockbit created ransomware as a service, right? So you, or an affiliate as they call it, whoever they deem fit. So you can see they have ransomware as a service model where affiliates are recruited to conduct ransomware attacks. So what does that mean? They give you the tools, right? They say, hey, you work for XYZ company, or you have a way into XYZ company, or whatever. We'll give you our ransomware. You get it on the system, you get a cut of the pay. Pretty crazy strategy, right? But it worked out, and it's because of that, it's one of the most widely, it is the most widely used ransomware attack in the world. And the thing that makes it so hard is, as a ransomware as a service, the way they provide it, there is no way to prevent it, right? Quote unquote. And what I mean by that is the tactics, the techniques, the procedures, the way in is different on every one, because they're not doing it themselves. They are providing the service. So what does this look like? It looks like this. Hey, you have a company, you reach out to Lockbit, they reach out to you, whatever, and you have a way in, right? Maybe you've already hacked them and you're just selling it. Maybe you work for the company and you're trying to make money. Whatever, you have a way in. They say, hey, here's the tools. Cool. Put it on the system. Get a call back. You now have... Here's the crazy thing is, they're such a sophisticated operation that they have their own help desk, their own customer support, their own actual departments, right? And it's crazy to think of a attacking group that's so sophisticated, they run like a corporation, right? That's really what they're doing. And so what they're doing is they're actually saying, hey, you put it on the system, we'll actually negotiate the ransom, we'll do all of that, and then when we're done, you get a cut, right? Now there's a couple takeaways here. So Lockbit software ransomware as a service negatively impacted organizations, blah, blah, right? Everyone knows that. Now, assuring payment by allowing affiliates to receive ransom payments before sending a cut to the core group. Okay, this practice stands in stark contrast to other ransomware groups who pay themselves first. So, if you were to do this, right, the affiliate, you get paid before they do. Okay, and that's why they're so popular, because people are more trusting to use them if they're going to do that, right? So that's one of the big things, the big takeaways. Now, let's cover what happened. Look at this. The FBI and the allies, this happened in the last week, seized the dark web site of the world's most prolific ransomware gang. What does that mean? They actually seized and arrested a couple of Lockbit's people. Now, here's where I think the misconception is coming into play, and where I actually kind of think that the news is doing a huge disservice here. The big thing is, they did not take Lockbit down. Okay, that's what's being portrayed. Is like Lockbit got taken down by the FBI. Lockbit is blah blah blah. You know, Lockbit didn't get taken down, right? Let's read what happened here. So the FBI and its international allies have seized dark web site that the world's most prolific ransomware gang has used to extort its victims. They seized the website. Okay. It's not that hard to stand up another website, especially since this Lockbit runs as a corporation. In that same process, they probably have backups. They probably are prepped for this. Now, I don't know that because I'm not a part of Lockbit, but I can imagine, based on their sophistication, that they are prepped for this. Okay. Now, it's a blow to the near-term operation of multinational ransomware gang. It's a blow. That's big. It is a blow because they did take down the site that people are using to actually get their services. So that's a big blow. The hackers claim credit, blah, blah, blah. Lockbit also claim responsibility. Okay. Here we go. We can confirm that Lockbit's services have been disrupted as a result of international law enforcement action. This is ongoing and developing operation. Okay. So the UK and the FBI have said that we can confirm that they have disrupted it. The big takeaway here that I think is important, and the reason I read this one first, and then we'll go to the next one, is right here. It's unclear if they will ever see the inside of a courtroom. Okay, and 2 Lockbit operatives were arrested in Poland and Ukraine at the request of French authorities. Okay. Now, separately, the U.S. Justice Department announced the indictment of 2 Russian men, but they don't think they will ever see the inside of a courtroom because we don't have an extradition treaty with Russia. What does this mean? It means we cannot go get those criminals, right? We can say, hey, you're under arrest if you ever step foot on soil, but they're just never going to come here, right? So that's a huge takeaway, and the reason is the news is portraying this as Lockbit is they're taken down, they're et cetera, but the reality is they took down the website and they indicted 2 people, and there could be some arrests, but as of right now, it's ongoing. There's not a whole lot going on, and they blatantly said, we don't have an extradition treaty with Russia, so the Russian ones will not get arrested. So I made sure to point that out because I wanted that to be the emphasis of this, is that as you're reading this and you're saying, because you're probably seeing it on Reddit, Twitter, whatever, as you're reading it, you're saying, oh, Lockbit got taken down. This is huge news, because in the cyber world, everyone knows what Lockbit is if you're a cyber professional. The reality is they didn't get taken down. They got slowed down. They got disrupted, which is still really cool, really good for the FBI because it's a big, big takeaway. Now, here it's called Operation Cronus, so it's cool to have a little name to it. But the one thing that's really interesting here is there may be some faith lost if you're a threat actor that was using Lockbit. Why? Some of the data on Lockbit's systems belong to victims who had paid the ransom already. So what happens if you are going to pay the ransom, right? Lockbit says, we're going to delete all the data and we're not going to mess with you if you pay the ransom. But the FBI found the data and proved they are keeping it. That's big. That's really big in this industry. Why? You now have a trust broken. And it's a weird trust, right? It's a weird concept to trust the criminal, right? You're like, okay, you attacked me, you own my network, but I'm going to trust if I pay you, you're going to leave me alone. That trust is now broken because you're keeping the data for a reason. I don't know what that reason is. I don't know if you plan on coming back 5 years from now. I don't know if you plan on releasing it at some point. I don't know. But you're keeping that data for a reason, and it's not being deleted, even though they're promising its deletion. So if you get taken over by Lockbit, now you're in your head, you're thinking, well, we can pay them, but if we pay them, they're still keeping the data. So they're still going to do something with it. So that's a very big thing to know. It's also announced the arrest of 2 Lockbit actors in Poland and Ukraine. So we already knew that. The 2 got attacked and then 2 were indicted. Over 200 cryptocurrency accounts linked to the group have been frozen. That's the big disruption, right? That's the big disruption. They had 200 crypto accounts because they're obviously spreading the crypto around. They're not keeping it in one spot. It's not going to stay there. It's got to be anonymized and laundered and all that jazz. And so they froze 200. That's a big amount to disrupt because currently they probably have a workflow that does, hey, we ransomware, get paid, go through this crypto, and route blah, blah to these accounts. All of that is now disrupted because the site where they were getting traffic is taken down. The crypto is taken down. The accounts are frozen currently. So they have to stand up a new site, then have to advertise it because it's on the dark web. So keep that in mind that you have to get that word out there. Then they have to also go ahead and get new cryptocurrency accounts to actually launder the money and everything they're doing. So this is a big hit. This is a big, big hit. And it's a big news because this Lockbit has been around for a while and they've been wreaking havoc for a while. So Okay, and then these guys have been charged with 3 criminal counts, but again, we don't think we're going to see anything with it. Okay, variant to encrypt data, exfiltrate, and extort a ransomware corporate victim in Alameda County, California. The development comes in the aftermath of the international disruption campaign targeting Lockbit, which NCA describes as the world's most harmful cyber group. So they're claiming they're the world's most harmful cyber group, which I would agree with, and it's based on their strategy, right? They came up with a business plan that allows them to not have to do the dirty work, but still reap the benefits. And part of it is not being overly greedy and not trying to screw people. When I say not screw people, they're screwing the companies, but they're not trying to screw the affiliates, the people that are doing the attacks, right? What do I mean by that? They're not screwing them out of pay. They're not screwing them. They're keeping their business model solid, and that's a huge thing because if I'm an affiliate or someone that's thinking about doing this, guess what? I trust that they're going to pay me because they have proven it time and time again. In addition, 34 servers belonging to Lockbit affiliates, keep that in mind, it's the affiliates, not Lockbit, have been dismantled and more than 1,000 decryption keys have been confiscated. That's huge because there may be a lot more data sitting there that they have that they can't decrypt, and now they have 1,000 decryption keys. So now they can start to decrypt, and this investigation starts to ramp up real fast. So I think there's going to be more coming from this personally. I think it's going to take time. The investigation's got to continue, but they clearly felt confident enough to make this big move. So I think this investigation is going to ramp up, and I think it's going to keep continuing based on what we're seeing here. So since it's 2019, runs a ransomware as a service scheme. Let's see. Okay, here's the Operation Kronos. 10 countries, 2 arrests, 200 cryptos, 34 servers, 14,000 rogue accounts. That's big. Law enforcement is taking control of the technical infrastructure and leak site. So again, they have to stand all that back up if they want to get back in business. The attacks flow a tactical called double extortion to steal sensitive data prior to encrypting them. Yep, okay, cool. The ransomware group is also infamous for experimenting with new methods of pressuring their victims into paying. So they have interesting methods, right? And again, they're going to have struggle with this now because their reputation is they're still keeping that data regardless. So it depends on if people in the industry are doing their research. If they ever get attacked by Lockbit, if they do their research, they know they're keeping my data regardless what they tell me. Okay, triple extortion is one such method which includes the traditional method of encrypting the victim's data and threatening to leak it, but it also incorporates distributed denial of service attacks as an additional layer of pressure. So they're, instead of just saying, hey, we have your data, right? They're doing threefold. They're saying, hey, we have your data, and we're going to leak it, right? And then the victim's going, oh crap, we can't let them leak the data. But then they're also encrypting it and saying, we're not going to give you your data back, meaning you aren't going to be able to access it, because sometimes there's just extortion where they just say, hey, we have your data, we have your passwords and stuff, but your normal operations are still running. Nobody's affected yet. Then there's the encryption, which is ransomware, what most people see, which is, hey, we encrypted your files and now you can't function until we unencrypt them. Now, then the third triple extortion is they're going to also DDoS you and say, not only, even if you could decrypt the files, even if the small functionality you have left, we're also going to stop you from doing that, so you can't do anything. So it's an additional layer. So they're pretty nasty cyber criminals, right? So as of today, Lockbit are locked out. We have damaged the capability and most notably the credibility. That's what I just talked about. I just said that. They damaged the credibility of a group that depended on secrecy and anonymity. Lockbit may seek to rebuild the criminal enterprise. However, we know who they are and how they operate. So like I said, this investigation is now going to ramp up because they do have that information. They know how they operate, all that, et cetera, et cetera. And now you got to think, if you're Lockbit and you're saying to yourself, okay, we got to restand everything up, even if you had the backups, the FBI did it one way, or did it once, and you may not know how they did it, but either way, they did it once where they seized everything. They can do it again unless you change something internally on your side. So I think you're going to see a very slow progression of Lockbit for a bit, and then you're going to see them rebuild, and then you're going to see this investigation ramp up and see what happens. So I think this is something we need to keep in mind. Now, one last thing I want to show you guys is look how sophisticated these guys are. This is from Lockbit, okay? And it's not to me. I actually took this off Twitter, but it's not to me. But look, this is to an affiliate. Dear valued affiliate, we are reaching out to inform you of a recent security incident. What does this look like? This looks like a note from a corporation saying your data was leaked, right? This looks like what Lockbit causes, but instead they have support themselves. It says Lockbit takes the security of your data seriously. We are committed. So they're actually saying, hey, someone attacked us and they have your data. Don't worry, we take it very seriously. We want you to keep working with us. We're a professional organization, blah, blah, all this stuff. Reset your password, enable multi-factor, monitor your accounts. This is exactly what a corporation would send out if they were breached. How crazy is that the criminals are doing the exact thing, even though they're the ones attacking? How wild is that? That's wild to me, that they are attacking people and causing this havoc right here that you're looking at. And then they're going to have the audacity to send out to their affiliates and say, hey, we take your security very seriously, And they do. I'm sure they do, because that's how their business operates. But you're literally causing this havoc. You're seeing the exact repercussions that happen when someone does infiltrate your data exactly like you do, and you're still going to ramp up and do it again. I guarantee it. So that's wild to me that you can watch someone do it, respond exactly like a corporation would, do everything the same, and still be able to sleep at night. It's wild to me. So this is big news in the cyber industry. Let me know what you guys think. I'm very interested in this because I'm interested in where it goes from here. I think there's a lot of paths that this could take. Lockbit could change their methods and ramp up, or they could shut down. They could rebuild and then get taken over or seized again by the FBI. There's a million ways, and I'm very curious, and I'm going to track this pretty closely. So let me know what you guys think. If you guys like the cyber news and stuff, please hit that like button, hit that sub button. It's the only way the channel grows. Thank you guys, and hope you guys have a great day.